So, my entire life, I've always wanted things here and now. Now, now, now. And this multiplied when I started self improvement. You might have experienced this to where you start self improvement and you're working really hard, right? And all you visualize all the time is future, 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 future. My future is going to be this. Oh man, I see this in my future. And that's what you're working towards. You're not happy with where you are right now. And that's why you desire, which is a contract to yourself, that you will not be happy until you are where you want to be. And so I'm putting in all this work. Let me give an example of the gym, right? I start lifting weights about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. And all I see when I go online is these super jacked dudes. Like, you don't see any like really good dudes that are just recording their progress very often. Yeah, you'll see a progress video from before and after, but that isn't a personal video, right? Most of the time, they're just picture collages with hype funk music going on in the background, Nothing personal. And so all you do is you get online, you see David Lade and Alex Eubank with huge chest muscles and ripped abs and really good genetics, and you don't comprehend how long that took them to make. It's like Alex Eubank, he's natural. I'm not quite sure if David Lade's natural or not. I think he is. But one, those guys have crazy good genetics. And two, I just started lifting weights. But I have this negative essence in my mind to where it's like, I'm not happy because I'm not with the six pack abs and the big chest yet. But I've only been lifting for 6 months, even a year, and I'm not there yet. Like, extending your timeline gives you a sense of peace because not extending your timeline and always wanting things here and now, you get this like stress built up in your mind. It's like anxiety because you're constantly working hard, hard, hard. And I experience this a lot with basketball. So, high school sports are limited to your high school years, obviously. And so I'm grinding basketball, right? Every day, 2 hours, 3 hours a day, making 200 shots. And when I say making, that means I'm making 200 shots. So I'm shooting more like 1,000 or even more. So it's like I'm out there putting in the reps day in and day out. And I have this extreme weight and fogginess in my mind because I'm constantly thinking like I only have 2 years left of this. And I didn't start playing basketball until my freshman year. And I wanted to go and play in a D1 college. And so I was working my butt off like, oh man, if I want to play in a D1 college, I have to improve really fast because I was comparing myself to these little Timmies that started playing basketball when they were 8 years old, 4 years old. And they're 10 years old and have more fundamental skills than me. But I had to remember that like these little Timmies have been playing since they were little Timmies. Like they've been playing for years more than me. It doesn't matter if they're younger than me. They started playing when they were 4, and I started playing when I was 13, 14. They had years on me when it came to playing basketball. And so I had this anxiety, not yeah, kind of negative feeling in my mind like, "Oh man, I have to work really hard because if I want to play in college, I have to grind." But in that case, yeah, I did have a deadline. I had a specific deadline. Okay, this is when you graduate from high school, and this is when you kind of want to go into college, right? You don't want to wait a whole lot before going to college. And now I think I've definitely made the choice that I'm not going to college. And so that belief has been pushed away because of that. I'm still trying to be the best basketball player I can be in the time frame that I have. But that's no longer my main focus. My main focus is my business. And do you know why? And do you know why I find peace in this? Because I find peace in this because I do not have an external deadline that I cannot control. The only deadlines I have in this are the deadlines that I set for myself. And by deadlines, I mean, when do I become a millionaire? When do I become successful? When do I do this? When do I do that? Like, if you're setting a deadline to, okay, I want to be a millionaire at 23. Okay, you work your butt off because you want to hit your deadline, but you don't get to stop trying when you're 23. That means you're a little bit past your deadline, but you're going to hit it soon, right? Because you worked your butt off to try to get to that deadline. I don't get to go back in time and be a high school basketball player for longer. And so having an extended timeline of when you will be successful, when you will hit your goals and achieve everything that you've wanted and be financially free and location free. When you extend that timeline, it gives you a peace because you know that you have time. It makes you more grateful for the progress. It really does. And all that worry that comes along with wanting things in a couple months, that all goes away. Because, when you don't post a video in 2 days and you were planning on going daily, it's not the end of the world. Why? Because you're going to be doing this for the rest of your life. When you miss 5 days of meditation, it's like, oh man, it's not that big of a deal because I'm going to be doing this for the rest of my life. When you miss a couple workouts, it's like, oh man, it's no big deal because I'm going to be working out for the rest of my life. When you have a deadline that you put so much pressure on yourself and it doesn't even really matter, but you're just adding all this pressure on yourself because why not? Like, when you say it like that, it makes no sense. And it kills your mental health. It kills it, bro. And I fully understand that because I put so much pressure on myself. I wanted to be a D1 basketball player and be one of the only guys that actually go and play college in a homeschool basketball league. That doesn't happen very often. It doesn't happen very often in regular schools and private schools. And I'm a homeschooled basketball player. Like, scouts don't come to homeschool basketball players' games that much. So I was working extra hard, adding all this pressure and anxiety to myself because I was like, man, I only have 2 years left. After 2 years is up, it's like, if I don't get a scholarship, if I don't hit my goals and become as good as I need to be to walk onto a basketball team, mission failed. I don't get to try high school sports again after I graduate. This is your only option. Now, if your goal right now is to try and go to college, I feel for that. And this is something that you have to accept within your business model that you're trying to do. But for me, I've chosen to step away from that path because for me, I'm not going to go pro in basketball. And so it's like basketball will inevitably have to end for me. And so what am I going to do with the rest of my life? So I might as well do something like business and actually try to be successful at an early age in life and set my life up for success and ease and learning and just where I can better myself as a person and not have to worry so much about like external sources like making money until I'm 60 and so I can retire when I'm 60 and I'm old and now I get to live my life. Like, I don't want that. And if you want that, that's your choices that you have to make, but personally, I do not want that. I don't want to be retired and rich when I'm 60. I want to be rich in my 20s. People say, it's not possible. I think it is possible. And so sports are no longer my focus. Not necessarily because of that extended timeline thing, but because I know that that's not going to be my life forever. And I'm always going to need money in my life. I'm always going to try to be a better person and be happy and have good social skills in my life. So why not pour all my attention into this, better my life now so the rest of my life can be easier if I want it to be. And so it's like, why not do this? And this gives me peace because I know I'm going to be doing this for the rest of my life. I don't have a extended time. I don't have a timeline that's placed on me to where I cannot control it and say, oh man, when I'm 23, I don't get to try and be a millionaire anymore. I get to try and be a millionaire until the day I die. And so that gives me the peace knowing that I am in control of this. And no matter what deadlines I set for myself, like, oh, I have a goal to where I want to be a millionaire when I'm 22. Like, I don't have that actual goal, but that's an example. Like, I want to be a millionaire when I'm 22. If I hit a millionaire at 22, pat me on the back. If I don't, well, I'll keep trying and maybe I'll be a millionaire at 23, 24, 25, 30. Like, I never get to quit trying with this. With basketball, if I didn't get good enough and get a scholarship in high school, I wasn't getting a scholarship flat out. And so I couldn't find total peace in that. Extending your timeline gives you that peace. And so I'm telling you right now, bro, don't set these super pressuring deadlines on yourself because they cause you more stress and hurt your mental health. And that is just self harm, really. That's self harm. You're hurting yourself. Don't do that. Don't do that. Extend your timeline. No matter how long it takes to achieve your goals, it doesn't matter because you're going to be doing this for the rest of your life. Your own self improvement for the rest of your life, bro. I don't care if you watch one self improvement video and say that you're off of self improvement for the next years. You won't forget about self improvement. And you are on self improvement for the rest of your life, even if you classify as someone on self improvement or even if you don't classify someone on self improvement. You have to improve yourself throughout the rest of your life. So you might as well do it the right way. You might as well do it mindfully, which is what we're doing here. Extend your timeline. It gives you peace and it releases you from all this built up anxiety and brain fog that you feel when you feel like you are working against the clock constantly. Because I only have 2 years left, and if I don't do it, it's all over and I failed. Like, you don't have this problem here. This is you for the rest of your life. My name is Charlie. I'm a homeschooled athlete and entrepreneur on self improvement. Much love to you, bro. Keep improving your life. Never stop.